Good morning, Tim Sykes here with a little pre-market video lesson because everyone is waking me up, messaging me about OPTT, which is down 33% pre-market. They just announced a financing. And if you recall, the other day I specifically said I did not want to buy this stock, even though it was spiking, even though it was a nice, after hours mover. I specifically did not want to buy this stock. Why? Because beware of financing, okay? You have to beware of financings on every single crappy penny stock. This is why these companies exist. This is why these companies, frankly, are stocks, because they pump up their stocks with bullshit and hyped up news, making you think that they're the next best thing. Meanwhile, they are working behind the scenes to sell shares at a discount to hedge funds and to rich people, whoever they can convince to try to buy these shares at a discount. So you guys watching this, you are retail investors, okay? You are the people who buy this stock on the open market. Sometimes the stock goes up, sometimes the stock goes down. It's all a game for these companies. These companies become public stocks so that they can have more liquidity for their valuation. If you look at the word market cap, this is what matters with penny stocks, okay? What is the value of the company? They're all junk. They're all going to zero eventually. This is what penny stocks do. And this is why they're easier to trade than any other niche, because you know the end game. You know that these companies will fail. You know that these companies will go to zero. There's like a 99.9% likelihood. The only question is how and when. So how is it going to get there? Well, they're going to say amazing things to you guys in the retail press releases. And then, meanwhile, they're working behind the scenes to sell shares. And frankly, this is actually a positive thing when they sell shares, because they're actually raising money to fund their operation, which is a good thing. Now they have lasted longer than other companies that could not get financings done. But there's a difference with the market cap now, because when they're talking to rich people, when they're talking to hedge funds, they're not going to sell shares at $2 a share or $3 a share like it was trading at a few days ago. They're selling shares at $1.30, okay? 5.385 million shares at $1.30. They're raising millions of dollars. This is a net positive for this company. The only problem is the valuation is not what the stock market thought, and it's not what retail investors thought. So you have to get smarter. The reason why I say I'm not buying this is beware of financing, because they've done this before. Okay? I'm not psychic. I don't have inside information. The way that I knew, or I didn't know that there was going to be financing, I said, there's a possibility of financing, is because they've done this before, time and time again. And it's not just them, it's every junky penny stock. So you have to understand the game. Otherwise, you are just an average retail trader, and most traders lose money because they don't understand the game. They don't understand the very things that they are trading, and I don't want that to happen to you. So when I say, look, my birthday sale, it's just a few more days on these newsletters and these guides, and we have 2 new guides. I'm trying to teach you the game. I'm trying to teach you from what I've learned in the past, okay? Again, I didn't know that they were going to do a financing, but there was a possibility. And I frankly thought that they would get it done earlier in the week. Maybe it's because the rich people and the hedge funds that they've been talking to really didn't want to invest. So they had to offer them a bigger discount. Maybe they were trying to get it done at $2 a share. And the rich people and the hedge funds are like, no, your company actually kind of sucks. We're only going to invest in you if you give us $1.30, because that way at least we have like a 50% off discount to what this stock is currently trading at. Because earlier this week it was trading around $3 a share. So the company doesn't want to sell shares at a 50% discount, or more than a 50% discount at the time, but they need money. They need cash to fund their operations. So they don't have a choice. So they screw the retail investors. They screw the retail traders. They screw anybody who is buying in the open market, and they give a good deal to the rich people and the hedge funds who give them money in order to survive. That is what a financing is. And that's why a lot of people hate on penny stocks, because frankly, they're crappy companies. They need to raise a few $1 million just in order to survive. Otherwise, they're done. And trust me, OPTT has been fun for several years, but this kind of financing, this is like last resort. This is what I call toxic financing. And if you study my guides, you know what this is. You know that toxic financings, while it may help the company survive another few weeks, another few months, it's usually the end. When you have to sell shares at a 50% discount, it's no different than 50% off bad sushi that you get in a supermarket after it's already been sitting for several hours. And it's like, well, the sushi's still here. It's not selling, so we might as well sell it for 50% off. It might be bad sushi. It might give people, the runs. It might send them to the hospital, but at least they're getting a deal. No different than this. And the rich people, the institutional investors and the hedge funds that are investing in this, they know that this is a junk company. So the only way that they're going to invest is with like a 30, 40, 50, 60% off sale. That's the only way they're giving this company millions of dollars. No hedge fund, no institutional investor buys into this kind of a spike here. These are people who mistakenly believe that this company is legit and solid and going to be the next Microsoft, and it's not. And you have to wise up. Otherwise, you are just like the rest. And mind you, there was an opportunity pre-market, okay? Pre-market here on Monday, there was an opportunity to buy it in the low twos or the mid twos and sell it in the low threes. And I'm proud of several of you guys. So don't say it's like, oh, Tim Sykes says never buy penny stocks. Buy penny stocks, just understand the game. When a company has done financings in the past, it'll probably do it again. And if you are going to buy these junky companies, be ready to sell, okay? I specifically said this was Monday afternoon, okay? I didn't want to buy it overnight. But earlier that day, it was actually a fantastic buy from the twos. Let me scroll back. This is the beauty of having all this commentary time-stamped. You can see that I'm real. Where did I say here? I said, I woke up at 8:49 on Monday, and I said, good morning. Congrats to all OPTT longs. But I also warned pre-market I'd be selling OPTT here in the 340s if I got long on the breakout in the high twos. This is best case scenario for a pre-market. And DOS was down. Software goes down. Deal with it. Here was a good trade from Mike MM, who's one of my students. And he made 2,000 plus. He's one of my challenge students. He was in at 279, out at 353, pre-market Monday morning. And he locked in over $2,000. That is a damn good trade. So don't think that I say never buy these. Just buy them and be sure to know to sell them into strength and don't get greedy. Even if it goes up a little higher. He was selling at what? 353. Well, I think he took the high. I think he went to like 360. But he took a good chunk out of it, okay? And he sold it pre-market because OPTT doesn't just have a history of doing financings, it also has a history of doing well pre-market or right at the open and then tanking. And that's exactly what happened here for the past few days. This is not a huge surprise. And if you're a short seller, you can understand, wait a minute, I don't have to buy these companies. I can actually short them. And you're rolling in the money if you're shorting it in the threes or the twos or, even in the high ones now that this stock is getting crushed with this financing. So there's so much volatility. You don't need to hate on the game. You just need to learn it. There's nothing worse than a retail trader who doesn't understand what a financing is, or who doesn't understand that this company has done toxic financings in the past, or who doesn't understand that, if you studied this company's past and this chart's past, you would know that they have failed again and again, despite beautiful pre-market action and despite beautiful strength right at the open. The company in the stock fails very quickly because, frankly, a lot of people know that they're working on a financing deal and how the game works and that they're going to need cash to survive. So don't hate on OPTT. Don't hate on these stocks that drop 30% plus. Love them. This is beautiful volatility. You had huge volatility on the way up and you have huge volatility on the way down, all in 3 days. Okay? And this is what penny stocks are good for if you understand the game. And mind you, before they announced this whole little hyped up press campaign, which I'm sure that they specifically designed in order to sell shares, the stock was trading in the dollar range, the high ones before all of this. So OPTT is a net winner. Their stock was trading in the ones. They issue a hyped up press release. They get the stock up to 3, and then they sell shares in the ones where the stock already was before. Slight discount, it used to be at 170, now it's in the 130s. But they get the millions of dollars. The only people who are confused and angry are the bitter retail traders who don't understand the game. They don't understand that all of these penny stocks are junk, and they believe in OPTT, and now they feel betrayed. How could you do this, OPTT? I was buying you in the 2s, I was buying you in the 3s, and now you're selling shares in the 1s just a few days later. I hate penny stocks. CNBC was right. No, CNBC is rarely right, okay? This is why their channel is at multi-decade lows in terms of viewership. Penny stocks are not bad, they're just a different game, and it's a more predictable game. That is the beauty of this. So I suggest you learn it. I suggest you study up. This specific guide, Trader Checklist Part 2 and Penny Stocking Framework Part 2, which I'm working on every single day, and they'll both be ready in June. So now you can save 50% off on the presale. These are going to help you understand the game, because it pisses me off when I get messages. Why is OPTT down so much? I don't understand. It's because you haven't studied. Because I don't make these guides to hear myself talk. I make these guides to teach you history. And it's not just stock trading. A lot of you guys ask me about Bitcoin. We have a whole Bitcoin guide here for just $200. Trading tickers. Here's a DVD from my top student, Tim Grattani. Okay, 45% off. He's made over $4 million. He's up nearly $700,000 in 2017 alone. There's 40 live trades. So study. That is the key to success. That is the key to understanding the game. This stuff is not random. OPTT does not randomly drop 35% pre-market. Also, if you want real-time data, Stocks to Trade is still having a birthday special. Okay? Sign up. Take advantage of it. If you're totally broke, guess what? I have a free webinar coming. This is going to be May 10th. I'm sorry we changed it from May 1st. I want it to be the best webinar possible, and I'm adding a lot of stuff, so it's taking a little more time to plan. But this is totally free, so you have no excuse not to join. But whether you join the free webinar, and I'll post a link just below this video, or you have the best data and charts and news and scans and stocks to trade, or if you study these DVDs in the past, please don't come to me and wake me up. I mean, I have like 50 plus messages. This is what just woke me up. I'm trying to get some sleep. I'm working my ass off. And a lot of people are like, look at OPTT. And I'm like, I know, this isn't my first rodeo, okay? It's frustrating for me sometimes, you guys, as your teacher. I tweeted this too the other night. I said, or last night before I went to bed, and I said this 11 hours ago. I love teaching, but what I've learned, over the past 2 decades, I try and share with you, but sometimes I'm like, what the fuck? Why can't some of you guys just follow instructions? So if you guys, I'm sorry to be mean, but I'm making videos, I'm trying to teach you every single day, and it's like sometimes, it grinds, Follow directions. Sign up for this free webinar. It's free. It's 100% free. There's no risk. And it's going to be so damn useful because I'm working on it, and we delayed it because I wanted to give you more information. If you want to learn how to scan, especially pre-market, and find the hottest stocks at the open, please just use Stocks to Trade, okay? I know data is expensive. I wish it were cheaper. We don't make any money on Stocks to Trade. This is just a tool that we have designed to help you in your trading and charting and news and scanning, and take advantage of these sales. I'm not going to extend it. I know in the past I've told you guys like, oh, you have a few more days. I'm done. I'm done. I have no more patience. I have no more tolerance for procrastination. If you want to save 30, 40, 50, 60% off DVDs and newsletters, you do it. You have until May 1st. So you have 3 or 4 days. Anyways, that's today's morning lesson. Congrats to those of you who are short OPTT and you're banking 33% overnight. That's the beautiful thing about these kinds of plays. Congratulations. I wasn't that aggressive, but I'm glad that some of you guys were. To those of you who are long and you're confused, I'm sorry, but you ignored the past. And when you ignore the past, this is what happens. So stop ignoring the past. Learn from the past. OPTT is not unique, and they're not even that smart. They've done financings in the past. They failed, price action wise. Got to learn from the past. Anyways, leave a comment at the bottom of this video with the words "learn from the past" if you understand what I'm talking about with this financings and this company's history of failing to hold any morning spikes. So if you are going to go long this, be very quick. Be like a sniper. If you're going to short this, you can be more aggressive because you can rely on the past. Very rarely will a junky company like OPTT, ever really flip it. Sometimes you can flip it. Understand that. This is an important point. I'm not saying that every single time it's always going to go down, but 9 times out of 10, maybe 99 times out of 100, it will. But always beware for that one time. Don't just short this and say, oh, Tim says this never fails or this never, succeeds. There is always that one time, and the one time is when you can potentially lose all your money. So don't think this is something that works 100% of the time. It just works the vast majority of the time, 90% plus. If you actually look at the analytics on plays like OPTT, how often does it fail to hold its morning spikes? How often is it strong pre-market and you think it's the best stock in the world? And then when the real volume comes in, and then when the real news comes in where they're, selling shares at a 30, 40, 50% discount, longs get squished. So I just want you to wake up. And I don't want you to think that there's ever any magic formula where 100% of the time. But you do know, as Duck said in his interview the other day, you do know with odds on your side when something can happen. And this one, what happened was a financing, which, again, a lot of people will say, Tim, I don't believe you. You're just your hindsight. This is the beauty of having, timestamp stuff. And I specifically said on the 24th, where was it? I didn't want to buy it overnight because while it has solid price action, beware of financing. And again, I was off on my timing. They didn't do a financing on the 25th like I thought they might. And I think that's probably, I guarantee you they were working on it on the 25th and they would have loved to sell shares, in the twos when that's what the stock price was. But I guarantee you that the institutional investors and hedge funds, whoever invested in this deal, did not want to buy this stock in the twos. And that's why it took an extra 2 days. That's how bad these companies are. Even if they offer like a 20 or 30% discount from the price, the people still don't want to invest millions of dollars. This is a gutter stock. This is one of the worst companies in the world. And yet, those of you who will say, Tim, if this is one of the worst companies in the world, why are you wasting your time? We don't want to invest in this. Just buy good quality companies. Every now and then, the worst company in the world can become the best performing stock. Let me pull up a chart. Here is DRYS, which has so many haters because they're such a financially flawed company. And this is a 5-day chart from just a few months ago when it went from the single digits to $120 a share. So those of you who say, oh, never buy a penny stock, never buy these companies, Sykes, you're such a pumper. I didn't touch DRYS. This thing spiked all on its own because there were too many short sellers who think that it can never happen. So I don't want you to make that mistake either. Even though OPTT is falling victim to, history and stats and probability, every now and then you can get a really bad company that spikes up a ton. And this is an extreme version. I mean, this hasn't happened. I've never seen anything like this. But it has happened. And this was just a few months ago in November when it went from single digits to over 100. And I know many short sellers who lost 6 and 7 figures because they thought that it could never happen. So don't make that mistake either. There's mistakes all around. Getting too confident on the way up and getting too confident as a short seller. But study the past, because these lessons will help you plan your future. That is what this is all about. Again, if this makes sense, leave a comment in the bottom of this video and say, what did I say? Study the past, something like that. Or the past will repeat itself. I don't know. Something about the past. I should try to remember my little taglines better, but it's early in the morning. I'm just waking up. All right, let me post this. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the chat room.